Hi, welcome to Political Butterfly, episode 2. So, on Political Butterfly, we're going to be talking about values and narratives and how I was able to start to reshape my narratives that I grew up with into something that actually matched my values. For example, I grew up with a lot of conspiracy theories that were not based in facts. Beyond that, though, some of the most difficult narratives I had were around finance and how economics works. I had to take a step back and really reassess. Here is a couple things I did that I think made the biggest difference in helping me align my values to my politics, or align my politics to my values, depending on which one. The first one is consider only yourself. Only your values matter. So one of the most difficult things is often when we have big value changes, especially when it comes to values that are related to things that our communities hold tightly to, which I've seen in every political circle I've ever participated in. We like to share things. We like to share values and we like to share politics. And if you're in a place where you're starting to feel like the political climate that you're in is not matching your value structure, that's really challenging. And so you have to kind of take a step back and consider only yourself and only your values matter, not if everybody comes on the boat with you, because you will make new friends and you will make, you know, chosen family. You will be able to find people that share your new political values. But to do that, you have to really know who you are and what you want out of your politics. So the second thing that I did through working within the open source community was I started building a diverse friend group humbly. So the humbly part is really important because a lot of the narratives we have in this country specifically are around race and around classism. And it's easy to harm someone without meaning to do it. And so you have to be humble when you're getting to know people that are different from you or that are coming from a different political background than you. You need to listen way more than you speak. And if you start to want to disagree to someone's particular experience, especially other people's experiences, if you feel like you want to share an alternate narrative or respond in a way that diminishes their experience, just take a breath and a day or 4. Don't let the other person's perspective have room to breathe. Remember that everyone has go-to narratives that are harmful and are the descendants of harmful stories. So a lot of our narratives are kind of like a shortcut. They're from stories that are, if we actually said the original story, we would be kind of horrified. But you just have to remember that we don't always know where our narratives come from. And so, yeah, that's really important. Remember that everyone has go-to narratives that are harmful and we all have room to grow. And I say that across the political spectrum. And as humans, this is a thing that we have. So how can you implement this? So I have a little exercise that I do with clients around social media and values, but we're going to use this one for politics. So will you take 5 minutes, a piece of paper and a pen, and sit down and write down what is most important to you about yourself, your community, and the world. And then sit with those words and think about the why behind each one. You can think about it from a future perspective. You can think about it from what you're most proud of. But these are the kinds of things that you want to be able to begin to shape some new political narratives around and kind of spruce up your politics. It doesn't really matter if you know who you want to vote for yet or you don't. It's not as much about that as it is about the fact that you just need to start kind of checking in and seeing, do my values and my politics match up? And if not, am I happy with my politics? Is there things that I want to change? So we're going to start with those value words. And then in episode 3, we'll go through and we'll be to kind of create some shapes that we can hang some political narratives. And that is my little lesson for today. The story I have today is the humanitarian crisis in Palestine. And this actually really fits our theme of values and narratives, because my values around humanity and politics is not matching the response that Israel has. And I am someone who has loved Israel for a long time. Since I was a baby, gave all my baby dolls Hebrew names. I always felt this kind of affinity for what Israel stood for, not necessarily everything they've done. So it wasn't completely blind to some of the patterns that existed within the Israeli state, but there were a lot of things I loved about the country. And I say this with all the honesty that I've never visited. But yeah, so over time, my perspective has changed, and I don't know if I support Israel staying a state, considering the things that they have done. And that was really hard for me to say. I do think that we have to be human about it and realize that these two peoples are going to be living in the same land, probably ongoing. But the humanitarian crisis that is happening in Palestine is untenable, and it's challenging. It's really challenging and hard. I think more than anything, it's hard to watch. That I don't want to keep watching it, in the sense that not like I want to turn off my TV, more like I want Israel to stop and take a breath and put some other leaders in power. How possible that is something that I don't know yet. Being human is hard sometimes. And on that note, I've had a long Thursday and I am ready for a break. So I'm going to go self-care with some comics and some good friends. But I hope that you also go do a hobby, take some time for yourself, and remember that, as the great Arnie once said, it took us 500 years to fuck it all up, and it'll take another 500 to unfuck it. So don't get too stressed out. Just take it one day at a time. All right. Have a lovely day. Bye.